From the controversial Lions vs. Cowboys game to sketchy play involving Julian Love, these are the worst calls of the 2023 NFL season. Let's start with the time the Chiefs-Packers game had a controversial ending due to bad officiating. First, there was a wrong penalty on a hit against Patrick Mahomes, who was still in bounds. Then, a clear case of defensive pass interference was missed, denying the Chiefs a chance to score close to the end zone. A wrong ruling on forward progress also stopped the clock, giving the Chiefs more time. Additionally, a critical 10-second runoff was overlooked after a fumble call was overturned, allowing the Chiefs extra time they shouldn't have had. The officiating errors sparked outrage and impacted the game's outcome. Next up, we have a crucial moment during a two-point conversion play where the Lions went for the win. Unfortunately, Taylor Decker, number 68 of the Detroit Lions, faced a penalty for illegal touching, and the two-point conversion was called back. This decision had a big impact on the game's outcome, and the Lions felt they would have won if the officials had made the right call. The decision made by the refs became a significant talking point after the game. Going back to Week 12, the Bills and Eagles game had some questionable officiating. Twice, Darius Slay didn't get penalized for interfering with opponents. First, he tackled Trent Sherfield without a penalty, leading to a Bills punt. Then in overtime, Slay grabbed Diggs before the ball arrived, again without a penalty. Fans were upset and criticized the officiating, calling it a joke. Back in Week 17, between the Bengals and Chiefs, a controversial intentional grounding penalty against Jake Browning became a pivotal moment. With 6:18 remaining and the Bengals trailing 22-17, Browning was penalized for intentional grounding on the first play of the drive, even though running back Joe Mixon seemed to be the intended target of the pass. Despite Browning being hit as he threw and a receiver being in the area, the officials called intentional grounding. In the Ravens' 2010 victory over the Chargers, a controversial no-call on a seemingly late out-of-bounds hit by Ravens safety Geno Stone on Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert has sparked outrage among NFL fans. Ravens linebacker Roquan Smith had pushed Herbert out of bounds, but Stone, believing the play was not over, collided with Herbert at high speed. Despite the apparent late hit, the officiating crew did not throw a penalty flag on Stone. Instead, they enforced a 15-yard penalty on the Chargers for protesting the no call. In the Cardinals-Rams game, a controversial call where a play was ruled not a touchdown is highlighted as the worst of the week. Somehow, the refs did not see this play as a touchdown. Sure, Williams was being tackled by 3 players, but he still managed to carry the ball past the goal line. The solution to fix these horrendous calls is for a separate official to be in a booth and be given the authority to intervene and correct bad calls, even if it may lengthen game times. Between the Cowboys and Dolphins matchup, Micah Parsons expressed frustration at a referee who penalized him for roughing the passer. With about 20 seconds remaining in the first half and the Cowboys holding a narrow 7-6 lead, Parsons nearly secured a sack on Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. Still, he was flagged for roughing the passer as he hit Tagovailoa a second late. Parsons disagreed with the call and confronted the official, requiring intervention from teammate DeMarcus Lawrence to prevent further escalation. In the same game, there was more frustration for the Cowboys as the Dolphins were allowed to hold CeeDee Lamb without a pass interference call. This added to the controversy with officiating as the Cowboys ended up losing by 2 points. In another week of the NFL, referees faced more criticism, particularly in the New Orleans Saints-New York Giants matchup. A controversial unnecessary roughness call on DB Alontae Taylor drew attention, as Taylor had simply tackled Giants tight end Daniel Bellinger without helmet-to-helmet contact or force to the head and neck area. Despite emphasizing player safety, the call raised concerns about limiting a defensive player's ability to make tough hits on offensive players. Houston Texan fans expressed anger after a controversial late penalty call against the Jaguars. Cornerback Steve Nelson was flagged for a holding penalty in the fourth quarter, described by fans as the worst call of all time. The call allowed the Jaguars to eat more time and secure a 24-21 victory. Fans took to social media, with some suggesting the NFL is rigged, and players in the Texans' locker room criticized the officiating, calling it the worst they'd ever experienced. Moving forward, we go to the matchup between the Falcons and Jets, where referee decisions raised many concerns. One notable instance involved an interception by Jets cornerback DJ Reed, negated by a penalty for illegal use of hands. Critics, including legendary quarterback Joe Namath, argued that the call was incorrect, as there seemed to be no clear violation. Another contentious decision was a helmet foul against Jets linebacker Chaz Surratt, who was penalized for lowering his head to initiate contact. The controversy surrounding this call stemmed from the argument that any helmet contact appeared to be incidental, and Surratt may have adjusted to minimize the impact. Moving on, we go to the Niners-Browns matchup, where questionable calls, including an unnecessary roughness penalty and a wrongly called holding penalty, drew criticism from experts like Greg Olson and Dean Blandino. The refs didn't cause the 49ers to lose the game because their kicker missed a winning kick, but they really helped the Browns a lot. There was a hit like a shoulder bump, and the refs called it as unnecessary roughness, even though it was 3rd and 10. This happened with 2 minutes and 45 seconds left, and the 49ers were winning 17-16. Next up, we have Stephon Gilmore, who got in trouble for interfering with A.J. Brown. The interference rules are not always clear, and this time it looked like Gilmore messed with Brown's play. But Brown had already given up because the quarterback intentionally threw the ball away. The rules for interference in the NFL can be confusing and cause problems in the game. Getting to the top, we have a tricky moment in Monday Night Football. At the 8-minute mark in the fourth quarter, the Seahawks' Julian Love grabbed an interception, helping them win 2017 against the Eagles. However, Love held on to an Eagle player, but the refs didn't blow the whistle. This made fans, especially those cheering for the Eagles, a bit mad, and some even said the NFL might be like a planned show, kind of like WWE. All this fuss adds to the ongoing talk about whether the referees are making fair decisions in the league. In a recent game between the Houston Texans and the New York Jets, quarterback C.J. Stroud suffered a concussion during a play where he was slammed to the turf by Quinnen Williams. Stroud, after being slammed to the ground and his head taking most of the punishment, couldn't continue playing. Stroud had to leave the game because of a concussion. Despite the severity of the hit, officials did not call roughing the passer. Fans on social media were upset about the play, saying they couldn't believe how the ref didn't call that. And now for the worst call of the 2023 season. In a close loss to the Eagles on Monday Night Football, Chiefs fans expressed outrage at the officiating crew for what they considered to be questionable calls. A false start penalty on Kansas City late in the fourth quarter, turning a potential 3rd and 2 into a 3rd and 12, drew particular criticism. Fans and commentators, including Fox Sports' Jason McIntyre, suggested there might be bias in the officiating. Additionally, Chiefs fans were upset about missed defensive pass interference calls against the Eagles when they were defending tight end Travis Kelce. Despite controversial calls going both ways, the Chiefs were unable to secure a victory in the final moments of the game. What do you think was the most important moment? Or is there another controversial call you noticed? Tell us in the comments.